Perek Aleph Mishnah Yud begins as follows: Ein tzoylin basa, botzal ubeitza, ele kadei sheyitzoylu mi'ba'odyai. You're not allowed to roast basa, meat, botzal, or onion, or beitza, or an egg, ele kadei sheyitzoylu mi'ba'odyai, unless there is enough time for it to become roasted before Shabbos. Now, we're going to encounter in Yetz Hashem, Perek Gimel, more of these halachas, but we know there is an Issa Bishul on Shabbos. You're not allowed to cook on Shabbos. Chazal made the Rabbanons in Issa Bishul as well. They mostly come under three categories: Shehiyah, Hatmona, and Chazar. And here we're talking about the Issa of Shehiyah, that they've got to be cooked before Shabbos. Chazal will worry that if it's not properly cooked before Shabbos, even if you're only planning on eating it late on Friday night, on Shabbos morning, if it's not cooked before Shabbos, we're worried that you may come to increase the heat, or stoke the coals, or do an Issa de'oraisa. So Chazal made certain safeguards. So the Mishnah says, Ein tzoylin basa botzal ubeitza, ele kadei sheyitzoylu mi'ba'odyai, unless it's cooked before Shabbos. Now, how cooked does it have to be before Shabbos? So the Gemara uses the phrase ma'achal ben drusai. It's got to be cooked to the stage of ma'achal ben drusai, the food of ben drusai. Who is ben drusai? Ben drusai was a notorious bandit who was always on the run, and he could never eat his food benachas, calmly in one place. He always had to eat and snatch, and he couldn't wait for the food to cook properly. Rashi learns that the food was 1/3 cooked. The Rambam learns that it was 1/2 cooked. But either way, the food wasn't cooked properly. The Mechaber Paskins, like the shit of the Rambam, that it's 1/2 cooked. In other places, he paskins that it's 1/3 cooked. But Lemaisa, it's got to be at least a half cooked for our purposes before Shabbos. So ain't tzoylin basa, botzal, or beitza. You're not allowed to roast meat or botzal or beitza, onions or eggs, ele kadei sheyitzoylu mi'ba'odyai, unless it was cooked properly mi'ba'odyai. Furthermore, says the Mishnah, ein noisnin pas letanur. You're not allowed to place bread, to bake bread in an oven, im chashecha, towards nightfall, towards the late evening on Erev Shabbos, v'lo charora, and nor could you place like a cake, a dough, al gabi gecholim, on top of the coals, ele kadei sheyikremu poneha mi'ba'odyai, unless the surface formed a crust before Shabbos. Rabbi Eliezer Omer kadei sheyikrem hatachtoin shelo, that the lower surface, the bottom surface, formed the crust. Now, what's the machlekes over here? We're talking about a tanur. A tanur is an oven which is a cone shape, and there were coals on the inside of this tanur at the bottom, and it was in a cone shape in order that the heat should intensify as it goes up towards this small open narrowing at the top. And you were to make a dough, and you would place it on the inside of the wall of the oven. The halacha is that the dough needs to be semi-baked before Shabbos in order for you to eat it on Shabbos. If it was less than that, Chazal were worried that again you might stoke the coals or heat it up to speed up the process so it's ready for Shabbos. So it's got to be semi-baked before Shabbos. Now, what is this semi-baked? Well, the Chachamim say, Kadei sheyikremu poneha mi'ba'odyai, which means the crust should be formed mi'ba'odyai before Shabbos. Now, there's a machlokus Rashi and Tosfos how to learn pshat in the Mishnah. Tosfos learns that the Tanakama are machmir. They learn that which crust forms first. The crust which forms first is the underside. And therefore, if you imagine, you've got the tanur over here, and you've got a sort of a bit of dough, a piece of dough placed against the inside of the tanur, against the wall of the tanur. The underside, which is against the wall of the oven, is going to cook first. And therefore the Chachomim say, kadei sheyikremu poneha, that you've got to wait for the other side to be crusted, that both sides are going to be crusted, and only then can you eat it. Rabbi Eliezer Kalamazon says, kadei sheyikrem tatachtin shelo. No, all you need is the underside. Once the underside is crusted, that's enough. You don't need to wait for the second outer side to crust over. That is Tosfos' opinion. And Rashi argues, and it comes out that according to the Tosfos, that the Tanakama are machmir, Rabbi Eliezer is makel, you don't need to wait for the outer side. Rashi learns the other way around. Rashi says that when you've got this piece of dough against the wall of the oven, this side, the outer side, will crust up first. So it comes out that it's the other way around, that the Tanakama are going to be machmir, because they would say, sheyikremu poneha mi'ba'odyai, that all you need is for this to crust over, the outer side, because according to Rashi, that is what's going to crust over first. And therefore, once this is crusted over, then it's considered already sufficiently cooked that you can eat it now on Shabbos. According to Rabbi Eliezer, however, he would say, no, it's not good enough to wait for the outer surface to crust. You've got to wait for this to crust as well. And that takes longer, according to Rashi. And therefore, it'd come out that Rabbi Eliezer will be machmir fi Rashi. So that's pshat in the Mishnah, that you've got to wait, Kadesh Yikra Poneho. Rabbi Eliezer says you've got to wait for the Tachto. In Machlokas Rashi Tosfos, who is machmir over here. That is the end of Mishnah Yud.